Okay, good morning, good afternoon, everyone. I'm happy that we are in a second final day of our 7th annual Architect Summit here at PP Lab in our Cyber Technology Center. So today we have 6 great lectures, and we are starting with Adnan Softic and Mirza Zekic with a lecture called Copilot versus Code Whisperer Battle of the AI Coding Wizard. So guys, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much for welcome to the second day of the summit. Today's topic will be GitHub Copilot versus the Amazon Code Whisperer, Battle of the AI Coding Wizards. Here I'll just quickly share agenda so you know what to expect. It will be like 50-50. We will cover some theoretical stuff, introduce you with both tools, and then our second part will be quick demo. We will not do anything crazy because we don't have John and Kevin today with us to help us conclude this, but yeah, it will be a quick showcase of what we can achieve with these 2 tools. So you can have some context, and then you can decide if you want to try any of these one. So quick introduction, like in this last period, we are witnessing like eruption of the AI tools in different areas of the life of the industries, and it's same for us in the IT. So these tools, their purpose is to help us boost our productivity, to spend less time on some repetitive tasks, etc. But today we will focus only on these tools that I already mentioned. So in our day-to-day work, what we are actually doing, we are solving different problems from the client to problems that we have. So first thing that we need to ask ourselves is like which problems we are trying to solve by using these two tools. There are multiple on the list, but I would say top 2 are productivity. We want to boost productivity, and we want to boost time efficiency of the developers that are working on the like day-to-day. There is a Stack Overflow survey that happens each year, and this is one from this year. It happened in April, so it's pretty much fresh. And there were multiple questions there, but I choose this one. So there was a question on an average day, how much time do you typically spend searching for answers or solutions to problems you encounter at work? So it might be asking your colleague in the office, it might be Googling for the answer or Stack Overflowing for the answer. And the results are like you can see them here, but the summary is that 63% of all respondents, in this case it was 40,000 plus, spend more than 30 minutes a day searching for the answers or solutions for their problems. This means if we transform this to, for example, a team of 50 developers, the amount of time they spend searching for the answers is about 250 to 300 hours per week. It says here time lost. It's probably a mistake. I shouldn't say lost, but yeah, I mean, we are still searching for the answers and doing our job. But maybe there is a solution to spend less time on the searching for the answers. Second question I choose, and last question I choose from this survey is to answer, are actually those AI tools future or they are really present and we are like now living in the future? So the answers was on the 90,000 of the responses, 70% of all answered that they are using or they are planning to use those AI-assisted tools in the every day-to-day work, which means this is not future, this is actually happening in front of our eyes, and we need to like jump onto that train just to be in line and with the technology that is right here at the moment. When we are talking about productivity and time efficiency, so GitHub and Amazon did some experiments to actually evaluate their tools, how they are helping the day-to-day work. So what GitHub did, they recruited 95 developers and split it in 2 groups. One group was using the GitHub Copilot. Second group wasn't using it. And the result was that the group of the developers who were using the GitHub Copilot finished like the same task in 55% less time, which kind of proves that it boosts productivity and time efficiency. There are also some questions that are asked to developers who worked on this experiment. So you have some numbers here. I won't go through them, but eventually the results were really positive. On the other side, Amazon also had the same productivity challenge. Unfortunately, they didn't release like how they actually tested, like GitHub release. We have same task. They used GitHub Copilot. Second group didn't use. Amazon didn't say anything about it. They just produced some numbers based on the experiment they conducted by using Amazon Code Whisperer. And based on that, we can see that 57% faster developers did their work by using Amazon Code Whisperer in comparison with not using any AI tool. So Amazon Code Whisperer, it's basically AI tool that is integrated into your IDE and helping you to, like, if you're a developer and you encounter the problem, you need to minimize your IDE. You need to Google for the answer, find the code snippet, do copy paste, test, whatever, or find the answers on the Stack Overflow. With the Amazon Code Whisperer installed directly into your IDE, how it works. Like, for example, you can just put a comment like write me a method that converts the list into CSV and save to the local drive. And it's going to suggest you some code snippet, either one possible suggestion or multiple suggestions, which you can scroll between. With this, there is no need for you to minimize your IDE, go on the Google, try find the answer, but everything is actually in front of you into your IDE, which actually that's the way how it boosts your productivity, time, efficiency. I gave a really basic example, but it works in a similar way with also some more complex problems that you can encounter during development. It's what they say that Amazon Code Whisperer is already a pre-trained tool. So they say that it's not using your code to do additional training, at least at the moment, but how it generates the code. And there is actually different when you start using. If you create a blank class without any code, it's going to be a bit tricky for it to understand what you want to achieve. But if you have, for example, 2 or 3 methods already in the class, it's going to be much more effective. So what Amazon is saying is that they're actually using the last 15, 20, 30 lines of the code you have in the class. And based on that code, they are trying to suggest you a solution to the problem that you have, which they're also saying that that code is just that 30 lines of the code are picked up, sent to the API. Once you receive suggestions, Amazon like kind of destroys your code that they use to suggest. So, which meaning they are saying they are not picking up that code, storing it somewhere so tool can be trained. So it's still pre-trained tool that don't use your code to do additional training. Code Whisperer is available for multiple languages and IDEs. And one of them, I mean, there is a huge cons. At least it was for me a surprise that it doesn't support Visual Studio actually. So you cannot use Visual Studio with Amazon Code Whisperer. Here on the slide we have some strengths and weaknesses. So strengths is obviously the team can generate much more, produce much more results in less time. Also, what Amazon Code Whisperer has integrated is automatic code scanning of your code, security scanning of your code, so you can recognize if you maybe have some backdoors that can be exposed later on. Also, this is not supported for the C#, for example. So if you're using C#, this Amazon Code Whisperer cannot do security scanning on your code. One big strength is that it's actually free for individual use. So it's kind of like the moment you decide you want to use it, to having in the IDE, it's like, I don't know, max 5 minutes and you can start using it. We have some weaknesses here listed. One of the, like when I was investigating and researching, developers are saying that actually it's more suitable for the AWS services. Like it doesn't mean that you cannot do some work on the Azure or whatever, it's still going to do. But as it's like trained on the Amazon internal code mainly, it's going to produce better results with the AWS services. Yeah, I already said the weakness. It supports fewer languages and IDEs, which includes Visual Studio as well, which is like, for me, a huge weakness. This is one example of like how can you use it. You can just write comment what you want to achieve, and it's going to suggest you code. Sometimes it suggests just one line, so you need to tap through the lines to get to the end. Sometimes it suggests complete code snippets, so just one tab and you have the code there. We will see later on demo. It can behave differently. Like if you give same comment 5 times, like all 5 times is going to produce something different. Like, is it another solution, or is it just full code snippet? Is it just one line of the code? So it produces different results for very same input. Okay, that was a quick intro about Amazon Code Whisperer. So I don't know, I'll take for the
GitHub Copilot, as Mirza said, pretty much works in a similar fashion as the Code Whisperer. It is AI-powered completion tool developed by GitHub in collaboration with OpenAI, and it uses machine learning models to suggest code snippets and complete code development. Basically, prompt coders with suggestions and complete their code they are already working on. It is designed to help developers write code faster and more efficiently by providing suggestions based on the context the developers are working on. One great thing about the Copilot is it is available for many IDEs, including Microsoft Stack, and it supports a wide range of programming languages. And as most of you already know and are familiar with GitHub, it is widely popular solution where I think 99% of open source projects are hosted and built upon. You can imagine how much data they have and how much data they can use for training these models that can be used by the Copilot. So here are some of the strengths and weaknesses of the GitHub Copilot. So as I already said, it supports a wider range of IDEs. So it's much more simple to just install it. Works perfectly fine with Visual Studio, works perfectly fine with JetBrains IDEs, which I think we are also using. Helps developers focus on solving bigger problems, and similar as the Code Whisperer, you can type in a comment, hey, I would like to solve this. It will prompt you with a suggestion, and basically it can prompt you with multiple suggestions, which you can cycle through and select one of them, or just continue to write your code, provided with a little bit more context, and it will, based upon additional context, prompt you with newer solution. Uses machine learning algorithms to generate code. So this is, in my opinion, where their main strength comes from. So having in mind how much GitHub is generally used across the world, that machine learning algorithms have so much data to train with. And one strength and considerably a weakness is it does offer a free trial mode, but only for 1 month. And going to the weakness side, it is not free for the individuals as Code Whisperer. You have to pay after 1 month. As an individual, you have to pay $10 for a subscription fee on monthly basis. Some of the weaknesses are that it is designed to generate best code possible given the context, but that code may not always work. So you have to be careful when choosing some of the prompts and suggestions in order and make sure that what you are prompted with and you selected actually works on your end. Can hold very limited context, and based on that context, it suggests prompts, but since the context is limited, it doesn't always suggest the best prompt or best solution for the developer. Copyright issues and the ownership of the code. So as you might imagine, this is probably the biggest black hole at the moment, because I think when Copilot started, when the developer started to use it, it leaked some secrets. So I think that some of the major companies complained about code ownership and the contracts being violated by sharing some secrets that they internally use. So as with the Amazon Code Whisperer, this is just a simple example on how it can be used. And as you can see, as the developer writes in certain code, they get prompted with a snippet that they can select and use. So over here we have a direct comparison, but I'm not going to spend too much time on this because we already talked about strengths and weaknesses. But my personal opinion is that give a try to both of them and see what works for you. So Amazon Code Whisperer may not be interesting to us because, for example, we all have Visual Studio subscriptions, which are pretty costly. We use Visual Studio massively, but then we don't have the Amazon Code Whisperer available to us. So give them both a try, see what works for you, and choose for yourself. Pricing. GitHub Copilot, as I mentioned, offers the 1 month free for usage, but after that, you can basically subscribe either as an individual to it and pay $10 a month, or there is another option called Copilot for Businesses, which costs $20 per user per month. So this is probably what our company will use, or I believe it's already using for the subscriptions. Mirza, do you want to go through the pricing of the Code Whisperer, or
I already mentioned something, but yeah, it's individual. For individuals, it's completely free. You don't have free trial period, so you can use it forever as a free. But for the professionals, yeah, we have on the slide, it's $19 per user per month.
pretty much same as Copilot for Business. Privacy. This, while working on this presentation, this is something that struck my mind because the customer I work for right now is all in on AI. So use Copilot, use ChatGPT, use all AI tools available in your favor. But then I believe that there are some other customers that are already working on and have provided some policies around usage of these tools, because they want to make sure that the customer data is not leaked in any way, because they probably don't trust the AI at the moment. And I completely am for that, because as we saw yesterday, the AI at the moment is a black box, and there are no guarantees what it will do with our data at the other end. So for the GitHub Copilot, they separated this into a Copilot for business privacy and Copilot for individuals. They both use our data and the context we are currently working on in order to provide the proper snippets and suggestions for the developers. One main important thing is that for the Copilot business, they claim they do not store the data once it is transmitted back to the user. if the user accepts or dismisses it, it will remove the context and not keep it on their end. But for the individuals, based on your accepted policies, they might retain certain context and data and use it for future improvements. But in both cases, they collect events and telemetry on which snippets did you accept, which snippets did you decline, so they can train their tool to be better.
For the Amazon Code Whisper privacy, as you saw on the Copilot, they have a different rules for the individuals and businesses. While here Amazon didn't split that, so we have same privacy rules, same set of privacy rules for both individuals package and the business package. I already mentioned some of the things, like they're saying they're not using our code, just using it for that period of time where they need to suggest something to you, and then discarding and destroying that tool. But yeah, we also yesterday had multiple questions about concerns about privacy, about security, and also I think Italy or France, I don't know, who tried to ban ChatGPT. The mankind created the AI, but now we are concerned and we are not sure actually how the AI can hit us back. And in regards of that, I would say I mean we can see what they are writing in their privacy policies, and there are frequently asked questions where the Amazon is answering, like which type of data we are collecting, are we using your code to, are we storing it anywhere? We have multiple questions raised that there, and we have some answers, but still global problem with the AI is actually privacy and security. And I'm not sure if I personally have an answer now to say, okay, you can use Code Whisper completely secure, no one will steal your data, or I cannot say you can use GitHub Copilot, you're totally secure. So that's something that we not on personal level, but as mankind who created AI, we need to attack these problems and try to solve them. I don't feel like I can provide a proper answer or give you the right input here, because it's kind of bigger issue on a bigger scale.
And I believe that both all companies will have to create certain policies on how they want to use this. So, for example, if something goes wrong, who is to blame tomorrow if my code is leaked or something? Will the customer who gave me permission to use the AI tools blame me? Or, I don't know.
You will be responsible.
Yeah, what will happen? And I believe that both our company and our customers will have to make some written agreements on how do we want to deal with usage of these tools.
But you have an user license agreement or some kind of SLA from these services that's going to tell you, yeah.
I'll let you address that.
Yeah.
After you guys at that part.
Yes, thank you.
What I want to say, we have those kind of rules, but still, if like in terms of our company, if you want to use this, it's really important to kind of go to the client and see what are their opinions about the AI. It was like when we prepared this presentation, we didn't use it on any code that we are actually using, and so it's some custom code. So it's really important if you want to try this in your day-to-day activities. Really, it's important to just consult with the client for which you are working, so you are on the same page at least at the beginning. So if you try to use it on your own, maybe it can produce some issues in the future. So just a quick disclaimer about it. Perfect. I think next part is demo, and we'll start.
So for the demo, we have a very simple demo, nothing overkill, but just to walk you through what we have so far. We have a simple application that has a web API and certain processor applications and all of this is connected using mass transit and a service bus. So our idea was to like use the mass transit, which is widely popular solution for microservices, just to see how it behaves in an actual project. And with Copilot, where we basically create an entity, send it to the consumer on the other end, and it gets picked up and it gets inserted into the database. So really nothing fancy. But our main goal is to provide like what we want you to see how the prompts work and how to use them. So this is, I'm going to delete this. This shouldn't be there. So I'm going to add, sorry. I'm going to go here into our controllers, and I'm going to add a new class called customer controllers, pretty much standard stuff. And here I'm gonna, and as you can see, this is the first prompt it gives us. Like based on the context, if it probably figured out, hey, this looks like a controller, I'm gonna give it a controller piece to inherit. And if I move along, I can tell it like generate constructor with customer service, logger. Let me hide this. And as you can see, based on the context of the other controllers, it can figure out, hey, maybe you are trying to achieve a similar thing in this controller. So it already provides certain prompts to it. But I will do this, and I request client. And since this one is already used, I'm going to just tell it, hey, I want to use my other entity. And sometimes these tools are not perfect. They are far from perfect, but you will probably get used to them and they will work better in the future. So here, for example, I'm using certain shortcuts, but I can circle through certain prompts that are coming in from the Copilot, but I don't want to use any of this, so I'm just going to create. And no, this is not what I want. Maybe I can do customer service. Customer service. And this would better on my end during our, but as you can see, it is not always behaving the way you want. So
Could it be typed? And remove the braces and the parentheses, so we can start carrying. Remove the last character.
you mean like
Remove the parentheses, remove it. Like delete the next character and delete the braces. Brackets here. And the brackets now. Remove those.
okay.
And then comma again. And it will escape, so automatically goes away.
You have a typo, like in the constructor.
The rest.
Okay. And let's give it a try now. Maybe this is okay. This is okay. This is okay. Will generate. Nope. Okay.
Yeah.
Here we go. So as you can see, it will generate prompts and fairly precise. So here, since this is a controller, let's see it offers attributes correctly. Okay, perfect. And now we read customer by request client. Okay. Okay. And pretty much it generates, so this is like, it generates a specific code, but we can, of course, remove or update what we do not want. So this part is fairly okay, but here we can simply say like, hey, return, okay, with customer response. And let's do a search. And I don't want to use it by ID. I just want to search for. So, customer service. Okay, yeah. First name, last name. Let's see if it gives us some prompts. No. But it's very simple. We don't want to use. So as you can see, it tries to guess certain method or kind of force you to create certain method, which is good sometimes because you might not have this service implemented while you are developing. So you might start with a controller, you're going from the top to the bottom. It can suggest these names for you. And then using the IDE, you can simply say like, hey, create this method. But we already have search async. So pretty much it will give you the prompt. Let's see what else we can do. Let's try to, yeah. So, I mean, the log thing is already there in some controllers. So it recognizes, hey, maybe you want to do the same pattern in here. So just by pressing tab, you get this code. Let's move on to the consumer. So if I go here, and I'm going to delete this. Let's see. And I consume customer. Perfect. But I don't want to use customer service. I want to use repository customer. And we'll do it public. No, but maybe you can do it better. Come on.
It took you some time.
Yeah.
That light bulb is thinking.
Repository customer. And the logger. So as you can see, it doesn't always behave the way we want to, but the really great thing that I experienced over the last 2 weeks, it will learn from your code base. So on controllers, we already have injected certain services into private fields. In here, we did not, so it didn't suggest that, but at least it understands the context into injecting the things we want. So here, I'm not going to do this, I'm going to do this. And I'm going to do this. And here, let's see. Okay. So this might not be familiar to everyone, but this is the mass transit code behind and how it transmits messages. So it keeps it in this message property, but it knew that. Let's give this customer an ID. So it's just, okay, it will. So it will figure out, hey, here is an ID, and then but since this, but maybe we can do it better if we put this facing. Okay. Okay. And now what we can do is, okay, do it.
Passive aggressive. Do you want to log it? Do you want to log it? No?
Do it. And no, I don't want to respond yet. I want to publish customer created event. And let's see. And sometimes it will suggest brand new entities for you. So even though this exists, but it didn't see it because it's a separate project, it suggested certain customer created event with certain properties. But for example, we don't have age, address, last name in it, but it did suggest it based on the customer that it created. So that's also for me fairly powerful. But let's remove all of these from now. And I want to respond to the client. And that is it. I don't need this. So basically, as you can see, we fairly simply created creation of a customer using service bus and mass transit, a library that has a little bit steep learning curve. And in my personal opinion, this is really a great benefit of these tools, because based on the suggestions, you can try them out and see what works for you, and most importantly, learn from them. That's, I think, all we have time for the Copilot. Mirza, do you want to take over?
We have 5 more minutes. Thank you for your question. We have 5 more minutes. I have prepared like demo for the code whisperer, but you
I apologize.
AWS services, like to create buckets and upload file on the bucket. It's not going to last 5 minutes. Definitely, it's minimum 10 minutes. So do you want to proceed with that, or to go on the questions? I don't know what is the preference of the audience.
Seems that audience is willing to watch the. Are you guys okay with going through that?
Yeah.
You want to switch? Yes, I need to switch to my.
Nicht Radvorbestimmung.
Success Kings, to приближает. Я myślę, że ja kamerę.
Sorry.
Don't stop sharing. Team. Stop doing what's fine.
Yes.
Don't share.
Okay, so in my example, I'm going to create two controllers. One is going to be responsible for buckets, creating buckets, getting buckets, deleting them, and the second one is going to be responsible for the uploading the files on the bucket. So I'll try to not spend too much time and still go through it. So let's create buckets controller. So you saw in case GitHub Copilot, it recognizes like what needs to be here, but in case of the code whisperer, we don't have that case. So you can do live comparison of two tools. Let's say it's going to suggest here correct things. Now I'm going to create. Okay. And in the same way, it's kind of suggesting the things based on the other controls that we have. So I will use logger, and let's see if so there is a difference. Amazon Code Whisperer, as I said, sometimes can suggest just one line of the code, and then you need to hit tab to accept that, and it's going to suggest another line of the codes or lines of the codes that might solve the problem. Also, there's one huge issue that I encountered using the Amazon Code Whisperer is that it's not closing those brackets that you can see, and it's kind of really frustrating thing. And it's not working at all. It's not that sometimes works, sometimes not, but it just never close them, so you can continue with your work. Okay, now when we have everything, let's just put a comment and say create bucket. So it should be post method. Let's try something different. Create the bucket by providing bucket name in the parameters. Okay, based on my edit of the comments, it recognizes and put bucket name now in the parameters. Let's check what else it's going to suggest us. Okay, this is completely fine code. And again, we need to manually close the brackets. We can do here one thing and say, check if a bucket with same name already exists. And now we have, this is a weird thing because Amazon says that this code whisperer is trained on their internal code massively. But in this case, it's actually suggesting a deprecated method from there, actually. As you can see, this method is deprecated. So it's weird that it doesn't know what's deprecated inside the same, I don't know, company or whatever, because they trained the tool on their code. So
Maybe they have a title.
So yeah, I need to manually fix this. And thing I was talking about before, once I fix this in this first method, in every other iteration is going to use this new method that is right, actually. It's Amazon S3 does exist, and it's going to suggest here this method. So this bucket name.
Client.
So client is first in there. Okay, now now it should work. So let's see if we try the same thing for, I don't know, let's use delete bucket so we can test the same check if it already exists.
Right, and close the bracket.
I didn't try it. That's it. Right? Bracket. Okay, it recognized the pattern, so now it's just this method to check if it already exists, and it's using new method, not the deprecated one. So kind of it learned based on the previous code. Let's check now if it's going to close. No. It's really frustrating thing. Yeah, I will not try to get because it's kind of the same. Let's just move on the files controller. Just go quickly to that one. Again, it won't. Let's see if it recommends now. No. So you need to manually do that. Okay. Here it's working fine. Okay, I want to use logger. Let's see. I don't want to use that. Okay, let's see. No, I don't want any of this. So generate some structure. Okay, should be correct. Should be correct. Again, brackets. Okay, now let's see add file on the bucket by providing file and bucket name as files. Okay, so put file and bucket name parameters. See the code suggestions. Oh, it's putting some try catch. Didn't put before, so getting smarter. Everything is fine here. Stop brackets, and also there is now, like we need to manually, that's recognized, but we need to manually add. Yeah, it kind of recognized now what we were trying to achieve, but it's really shame that it doesn't recognize, like it suggests your method, but doesn't recognize to just put the using there. Now we can move that to use the right. Okay, that's it, and let's write one more additional. It should be delete file from bucket by providing bucket name and file name. And in this case, like you can see, it's just something, but I didn't complete it. So, like it's in comparison to Copilot, it's really like on those tiny things that, like the most frustrating things, it starts happening, and then you kind of decide, okay, I don't need you anymore. I'll try to do some things manually. So here I'll need to complete it manually. Delete file, okay, parameters are fine. And again, we have try and catch. Everything is same here. And again, we'll just need to, I think, yeah, do the same thing as the previous method to use the model. Delete object request, and in case you also want to try, for example, add, I don't know, some logs, but try how it behaves in comparison to the Copilot. So let's go to the prompts. Yeah, finally you can get a meaningful log like containing file name and bucket name. That should be here. Okay, I will not go now and present like this, like creating to the Swagger, because we are heavily out of the time. I just wanted to show you the like almost the same case comparison to the GitHub Copilot, but I just wanted to show you this example where even it's Amazon thing or trained on the Amazon internal code, working with Amazon services, it's still suggesting deprecated methods. So it seems like it's still like needs to be more smart and learn based on the our inputs to give you the correct input so you can work further. Sorry for taking your time from the break. I would complete this presentation here.
Thank you, Mirza. Thank you, Adnan. So questions?
Questions, Anna?
Carlos?
Don't take me alone. Don't leave me alone here.
You guys check out also the open source model Star code, which you can run locally.
No.
It's very interesting. So everyone, please check it out.
That's a good question.
Yeah. And
Oh, yes.
yes,
Yeah.
There are mechanisms to self clean up the comments that we put right there. Because we're leaving like comments all the way, delete the file, blah, 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 like tons of comments.
I don't believe you will probably have to go manually and delete them as you work.
Yeah.
Question for Adnan, if you want to, in mass transit, if you want to implement consume method,
Yeah.
do you have to specify implement I consumer, blah, blah, or
No,
implement consume method?
no. That comes
If
from
you want, please.
that comes from the interface itself. So that was added by implementing the interface icons. So it figured it out. So I believe it figured it out because there is already one order consumer in there that works the same way. So it has order consumer, and then it inherits I consume order. And it figured out, hey, this is also called consume, similar with the controller thing. I believe that's how it works. So, but in my experience so far, it has been really on point with those kind of suggestions. Like, I mean, like we saw controller base, I consume, those things. So I think it figures it out on its own.
Thanks.
What up?
My question is kind of trivial. I will not use this Copilot because of this issue.
I'll address that.
Do you want to?
So I can
No.
say this.
Of course.
I can say this right away. So this is not the future. This is right now, right? So you guys kind of have to use it. But having said that, most of our clients are large enterprises, right? They have things like police departments and IT departments.
Lots of reading time.
And lots of paranoid people in those departments, right? So obviously there are risks as they perceive it, and you've seen policy that went out about 2 months ago. We said, do not use it on client projects unless you cleared it with your account managers. So if your account manager hasn't talked to your project manager, architect, then ask them, if they are in the process of clearing this with some. So some clients actually already have policies that, we shouldn't use it. And some are already asking us how much of a price break are you going to give us because of these tools, right? So honestly, so we did the proposal in September for a large project and they kind of lost funding. And they're back on. They are back on, and now they're asking us. You know what? That proposal you gave us in September. Microsoft is saying that you can do it 50% faster because of these tools. Do we get the break? 50%, right? So guess what it means? It means that there's going to be a lot more of these questions, and Microsoft is saying 50x%. Amazon is saying 57%. Yeah. We did our own pilot. I'm saying 20%, Biden is saying up to 20%. But in any case, we can be a lot more productive using these tools, and it's pretty much going to be a must pretty soon. But yeah, there are 3 risks. We don't want to store our data anywhere outside of the client's infrastructure. We don't want to introduce somebody else's copyrighted code into our, and we don't want to leak any of the code out, right? So, there are risks. You're gonna clear it on account by account basis. So right now, unless your account manager or client executive explicitly told you you can use it on this client account, don't. But on authority partners code, APMS, APKM, CPNG, APGA, go to town, use it, test it, enjoy it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, that's it, guys. Thank you so much. 5 minutes break, and then we have to be back for the next session. Okay?
Thank you.